Aliens perform extremely painful experiments or procedures on abductees, saying that these acts are necessary but give no explanation why. Painful genital and anal probes are performed on children as well as adults. Aliens make predictions of an imminent period of global chaos and destruction. They say that a certain number of humans will be rescued from the planet in order to continue the species, either on another planet or back on Earth after the destruction is over. Many abductees report they don't believe they're alien captors and foresee instead a much more sinister use of the rescued humans. Further commenting on that list, Carla Turner states, "In every instance from this list, there are multiple reports from unrelated cases confirming that such bizarre details are not the product of a single deranged mind. These details are convincing evidence that, contrary to the claims of many UFO researchers, the abduction experience isn't limited to a uniform pattern of events. This phenomenon simply can't be explained in terms of crossbreeding experiments or scientific research into the human physiology." Since most abductions are not remembered consciously, Dr. Jacobs believes that there are millions of abductions worldwide of people who have not the slightest idea that they had been abducted. Dreams and issues of missing time can be hints that an abduction has actually occurred. Sometimes people remember later in life, after 30 to 50 years or so, that something like an abduction had occurred earlier in life. Hypnotic regression can help to uncover more. However, there's also physical evidence at times, such as body marks, and there are conscious recollections without the need of hypnosis. According to abductee stories, most abductions are performed by the typical gray alien, which has become a sort of pop culture icon thanks to Hollywood. Sometimes there are reptilian and humanoid entities present who seem to oversee such procedures. Some people believe that abductions are performed because these aliens are dying, claiming that they need our DNA and that in a sense we are helping them. On the other hand, some supporters of the benevolent alien scenario suggest that abductions and genetic manipulation of humans happen on purpose for our benefit in order to upgrade our DNA for the shift. However, this assumption doesn't hold up in light of the overall research and merely downplays the abduction phenomena by painting an inferior and innocent image of the aliens or seeing them as saviors. The gray aliens seem to be just biogenetic robots performing assigned and programmed tasks, but are not in charge nor a race on their own. Greys have a tiny mouth slit, a resemblance of a nose and ears, but there's no suggestion that they use five sensory perception, eat, breathe, or use speech like humans do. Communication is done by telepathy. Dr. Jacobs also believes that the gray alien is a product of human-alien genetic manipulation, and the reason why mouth, ears, and nose have a regressed, underdeveloped appearance is simply because they are not used as a human would use them.
The need to hold ourselves to facts in this field. And I think that is extremely important. We should repeat that 10 times a day as we go through the work in this area. The problem, of course, with the abduction phenomena, as with a lot of ufology, is that the nature of the alien activity is designed deliberately to keep us from having much in the way of concrete evidence. Designed that way. It is not an accident.
It seems that the secret government and military-industrial complex, which is in possession of alien technology and is involved with these non-terrestrial forces on some level, is not fully in control, but are themselves duped by these visitors. Looking into military abduction accounts, MyLab, researched by Dr. Carla Turner, she has reports by people who have been abducted regularly by aliens and then also started to get abducted by military personnel, who then questioned the abductees about what the aliens wanted from them and what they conveyed to them. Whatever is going on, the alien forces seem to have their own agenda and are not just in partnership with the secret government. Deception is the name of the game, not only through the military-industrial complex, but also through the aliens themselves. Military abductions are happening, but they seem to have a different purpose than what Stephen Greer suggested. He believes that all abductions are simply staged by the military to give the aliens and ETs a bad name.
Abductions, in my assessment of this, there is no question there is an abduction phenomenon, and it is not, as has been argued by some people, most notably Dr. Stephen Greer, simply a military phenomenon. In fact, I think it's irresponsible to make this argument. There is something... Yes, you can clap for that. It boggles my mind, to be perfectly candid here, that a researcher can make such a blanket statement. You have a phenomenon that's gone on globally for a long time. You have individuals that are describing highly consistent things in terms of their abduction experience. And I don't know what else it can be other than a kind of religious-like zeal that can cause a person blindly to say the only abductions that occur are military. This I find indefensible. And I think that a careful review of the evidence certainly leads to that conclusion.
Abductees and contactees seem to get duped by their alien friends as well, being told they are special and they have certain important functions to perform in the coming future. Some abductees claim that they have given permission for abduction through their unconscious mind and have developed a kind of a Stockholm syndrome, worshipping their abductors. What needs to be kept in mind is that these beings are able to create virtual realities, trigger emotions, and implant thoughts.
I believe now that the reported and confirmed details in all of these reports are strong evidence against accepting consciously recalled alien encounter reports at face value because of the illusion capabilities, because of the screens, and because of the virtual reality technology that we have witnessed being manifest by these entities. I believe that if we build our theories on such information, the consciously reported information only, we're building on sand, on illusions that the aliens create for us, and I think to confuse and mislead us. Now, this is not to say, however, that all alien encounters are virtual reality events, because there is also plenty of very strong evidence for the physical nature of many of these encounters. So to be perfectly objective, the definition of abduction would have to include any event or scenario that is generated externally for the targeted person, whether it be a physical encounter, a virtual reality scenario, or a telepathic contact.
Some people reported they felt this love when they had a UFO sighting. Well, looking a bit deeper into it all, the supposed feeling of love is by no means an indication that these are benevolent beings, considering they seem to be able to induce emotional states into humans at will. We can easily be emotionally manipulated, and we can be very impressionable beings. Movies are a good example of how sound and vision alone can make us laugh, cry, or be scared, let alone what hyperspace technology might be capable of that is clearly far superior than anything known to man. They can play any scenario to make the abductee feel as if it is a spiritual experience. Hence, many contactees claim these alien beings are benevolent, despite the fact that abductions happen against their free will to begin with. In order to fully grasp the topic of abductions, we need to let go of what we think is or is not possible, while watching our conditioned mind, which tries to explain away such experiences with basic culturally approved psychology or New Age spirituality. It is very important to understand the high strangeness of the UFO and alien phenomena. People who haven't really looked into it carefully paint pictures too fast, asking how all this could be possible on such a grand scale without anyone really noticing. They don't realize that a lot of this is a non-physical phenomena, dealing with a high-intelligence life form who might be a bit smarter than us humans and don't think like a human, that is able to pop in and out of 3D physicality, transcending time and space. They can insert thoughts, memories, emotions, and change appearances, such as past loved ones, Jesus, the Virgin Mary, Santa Claus, a Pleiadian, and so on, depending on the belief system of the abductee. This is further documented in Dr. Carla Turner's books Masquerade of Angels and Into the Fringe. In one case that I recount in Into the Fringe, James had mostly conscious recollections and almost no hypnosis. He remembered being drawn into the proximity of a beautiful Pleiadian woman who was very alluring and tender and almost seductive. She wanted him to come into her embrace. When he got into the embrace and thought she was going to kiss him, she disappeared entirely, and what was left in her place was a purplish-black, bumpy, almost slimy-looking character with fairly asymmetrical features. I have encountered the same type of creature in a couple of other cases. The entity was very strong. Instead of embracing James, the creature threw him down on the ground and shoved a 2-foot-long tube down his throat, into his stomach, and pulled up stomach juices. The next day, he still had some of the bile taste. The interior of his throat was sore, and he discovered claw marks around both sides of his neck where he had been held down. Laura Nadjajek writes in The High Strangeness of Dimensions, Densities, and the Process of Alien Abduction, another disturbing factor that emerged from my research was that these beings, whether demons, vampires, or aliens, seem to have the ability to control our thoughts to a certain extent, our physical bodies, the weather, and even events in our lives. Many people reported that their abductors were benevolent beings, but when we consider all the factors of the big picture of the phenomena, it seems that such stories of benevolence may be misleading.
The first matter is the intrinsic deception at the heart of this agenda. And that's something that's become clearer with every new report that surfaces. Whether we choose to call it screen memory, telepathic mind control, technological mind control, or virtual reality scenarios, the entities involved in the abduction phenomenon employ masterful illusory capabilities. And I don't think the importance of this fact can be stressed strongly enough. It must affect all of our thinking and our research when it comes to these alien-human contacts.
When we talk about the possibility of an alien race of high intelligence that exists outside our range of perception on a higher density, it doesn't mean that they are automatically spiritually evolved or loving angels. This also doesn't imply that there aren't any benevolent beings on higher realms of existence. However, there is a heavy romanticizing of the alien UFO phenomena going on based on wishful thinking and assumption. Not many people actually question the intentions of these beings.
Dimensions are lateral and infinite, and densities are vertical and only 7.
Okay.
And density refers as much to state of awareness, you know, because obviously if you're in a higher density, you're more aware of the multiple dimensions on the density below you, you know, and as you go up, you know, this just increases, because we as human beings are extraordinarily aware of, you know, many creatures inhabiting the animal kingdom and the world around us, the natural world and so forth. So we're aware of many dimensions below us. And we'd have to say that these higher dimensional or higher density beings have the same perspective on us that we have on, and that's kind of a scary thought, especially if you realize that they may not have your best interest at heart. And just as the farmer has a lot of awareness of the many dimensions of his herd of cows, he knows them very well, because he knows which ones he's going to butcher to have put in his freezer.